Hello and welcome to Time Change Saturday Night. This is Dylan Knows, episode 525, November, actually. And yes, we are now in November. We are in the last, today's the 4th of November. We got about 20 minutes left of that. So it's the 4th of November. So roughly we have about 57 days left in the year. Interesting stuff about that. And we got a lot of stuff coming up here. Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, all kinds of good stuff. It is that time of the year. It is the best time of year. I mean, October is now officially over, and now we're into November where it gets colder and the trees get more barren as the leaves are falling more and more, and it's starting to get into winter mode. And I've been noticing that lately. It was a lot of beautiful leaves in the trees for the last few weeks, but then gradually over as the days have progressed into November, the leaves have started to fall even more, and we get more barren white trees as well. We are presently at 46 degrees, so yes, we're still chilly here in the eastern seaboard. So all kinds of stuff going on this week. We've got had some snow flurries, college visits. Not really any Taylor Swift news, but I might mention a thing or two about her. Cryptids, some of those. Fortnite's new season. The time change I said already. Plastic bags, trailers, new Beatles, shore leave, Christmas, Thanksgiving, Halloween, decorations, Godzilla Day, football, Taylor Tomlinson, Sesame Street, J.J. Abrams, Legos. What else we got? Animals, Agent Recon, Letterkenny, Wendy's, Winter Spiced Cranberry Sprite, which is meh. I just needed something to coat my throat, so that's why I opened it beforehand. I have tried this before. We had it last year, so I did the sort of taste thing last year. Asteroid Dust, Disney, Eden, Lost Art, Imaginary, Lucky Charms, S'mores, Attack on Titan, Home Depot, Australia. No, it's not Australia. Ahsoka, excuse me. Divinity, Sea Lions, Dracula, UMBC, Barbenheimer, Prehistoric, Footprints, Pebbles, Candy Canes. We got all kinds of good stuff. So we're going to get moving on here a little bit. It is November 4th. Tomorrow is November 5th, which I believe is Bonfire Night, if I am to be correctly believed here. Because I think last year's episode was Bonfire of the Dylan Knows. Bonfire Night is Guy Fawkes Night. Yep, is 5th November, Bonfire Night. Yes, so tomorrow is Bonfire Night and Guy Fawkes Day. It's also Community Day, which is going to be kind of odd because the Ravens are playing football from 1 o'clock and Community Day is 2 to 5. So I got to figure out a way to spend more than an hour out there because the game will be over by about 4 o'clock-ish. So only an hour for Pokemon Goes. Community Day is not good. 2 hours is better for me anyway, I think. But we'll see. Plus, my wife has a Eagle Court of Honor to go to, so I don't know if she'll be involved with it either. So we have some interesting stuff going on. First things first, it is presently 11:44 p.m. right now here in the Mid-Atlantic region as I'm doing my show. It is also Turn the Clocks Back night. Now, everyone I've been talking to back in the spring was like, oh, thank God we don't do this ever again because they were voting to get rid of daylight savings time. They were announced to vote, but they never actually voted on it and never actually became a law. So we still have to turn our clocks back an hour, and they will be turned back an hour. Like your cell phones will automatically be changed. But be sure, before you go to bed tonight, to move your clocks back an hour. So you get this, you save an hour, but yes, that means it's getting dark at 4 or 5 o'clock. You're going to start seeing those memes all the time. Yeah. But it's going to get lighter in the morning. So you're getting a little bit more light going in to work, and it's darker on the way out. So, and then you only got about a month of that. And then once Christmas hits, the first day of winter and stuff like that, it starts getting lighter again at night. So, it's just people complaining just to complain. And it's annoying because it's really not that big of a deal. It really is not. So it's dark at night. Who gives a fuck? All right. All you whiny little bitches. It's better than I heard if they did get rid of it, that at one time, like in the spring or summer, whatever, sunrise would not be until 8:30 a.m. 8:30 a.m. sunrise. Most people have been at work for at least an hour and a half by that point. So I don't want to hear it. It's not that hard to do to change your clocks back. And most clocks will do it for you automatically. All this talk about car ones being hard. Yes, some are hard. Mine's easy. There's a button that says clock, and then it pops up on screen, and then it highlights where you need to change it, and then you use the arrow keys. And if you need to go to the next one, you use the arrow key to go to that one. You change that one, you hit clock again, boom. It takes all 2 seconds. It's just people whining and bitching just to whine and bitch. And this is where I'm going to whine and bitch a little bit. Plastic bags here and the I guess it's all over, because it seems to be a thing. I understand that it's better for the environment, blah, 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 but grocery stores, the comic book store I'm working on, they're all going to be getting rid of plastic bags. They will not be giving out plastic bags anymore. They are requiring you bring your own bags, or not requiring, I should say. They are requesting you bring your own bags. Here's a problem with what I have about that, particularly at Weis, the grocery store I go to. I always do self-serve because I don't like dealing with the cashiers. I like just to go in, do my own thing, and get out as quick as possible. I don't like small talk. I just want to get in and out and done, do it my own way, pack it up my own way, and stuff like that. So it was so much easier going to those self-serve places and scanning the stuff, putting them in the bags, taking the bags, carrying them out to my car, done, over with. Now, the computer system that the self-serve system that Weis uses is very bitchy. They basically scream at you about, be sure to put the stuff in the bag, even though you already had put the stuff in the bag. Or they yell at you for a whole bunch of different things, and it's ridiculous. When we had COVID, they didn't do that. They just let you do your own thing. So, and now they changed it up, which is really stupid. And now you got to bring your own bag. So, first and foremost, you were getting free bags when you were at the grocery store. Now you either have to pay for reusable bags, or you can bring some from home and remember to bring some from home, because you don't always remember. You might be on the road. It's like, oh, shit, I need to get stuff for dinner. And you don't have reusable bags in your car. So you have to go back to your house, get the reusable bags, and then go up to the grocery store. And just be easier to go to the grocery store. I tried it where I did it like the big box stores, like at Costco or BJ's, where they don't offer bags. You just scan the stuff. You put it in a grocery cart, take it to your car, and empty it loose in your car and take the grocery cart back. Well, I had a little handheld thing, and I did that the first time I used it with this new system when it placed November 1st. And I had to have the Weis people come over and, put their card in and type some buttons to clear out the computer yelling at me for whatever reason. I don't know. Another option they have is you can buy brown bags that they offer there for 10 cents each. So it's another 10 cents. So you're paying again for bags that you're only going to use maybe once or twice. It seems to me, yes, I know it's better for the environment and all that stuff, blah, 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 but it seems like it's a cash grab. If you really want to be better for the environment, you would give all this stuff away for free. You would give away brown bags for free. You would give away reusable bags for free. You wouldn't have us have to pay for them. It's absolutely ridiculous. Yes, it's only $1 or only 10 cents or whatever, but it's ridiculous to pay anything when it was free with the bags. That's bitch number one. Bitch number two is one I didn't write down here, but Little Caesars near me. I'm not the biggest fan of Little Caesars, but it is the cheapest pizza. You can get 2 pizzas, cheesy bread for about $27. Whereas if I went to Papa John's, I once tried to get 1 pizza delivered to me by myself, and it was the same cost as 2 pizzas and cheesy bread at Little Caesars. So it's ridiculous how much they charge for delivery and the pizzas as well. I like Papa John's better, but they're way too expensive. And the guy who runs it is a Trumper asshole, ass fucker, dumb shit, fuckhead. And so Little Caesars right down the road. So I do is, I got the app for Little Caesars, and you order your pizza, and you set a date, you set a time for when you're going to pick it up. And then once you paid for it, they will send you a code that you type into their pizza portal, which is like their portable heating unit. So you can just walk in, you see your name, you go to that thing, you type in your code, it opens up, you grab your pizza, you walk out, takes all 1 or 2 minutes. The last month or so, actually it's been more longer than that, the last 2 months or so, we get pizza every week at Little Caesars, and I order it through Pizza Portal. I get the code, stuff like that. The majority of the time, my stuff is not in the Pizza Portal, and there is no like text or whatever saying, "Hey, your pizza's ready." It used to be they used to send you a text saying, "Okay, your pizza's ready. Come and get it." They don't do that anymore. So I know that it was going to be done by about 6:30. So I got my car to drive up there because it's about a 10-minute drive from my house to get there. And hopefully that would be put in the system or whatever. But they haven't been putting it in the Pizza Portal for the majority of the last 2 months or whatever. I have to and this defeats the whole purpose. I don't want to talk to anybody. I want to go in, put my code in, grab my pizza, and get the hell out of Dodge because they could be busy. And I don't want to have to wait in line and say, "Hey, I had ordered a pizza that was supposed to be in here for me to take out easily, but you guys decided not to put it in there. So I have to talk to you guys, and you have to scan it for yourself and give it to me." And it takes an extra 5, 6, 7 minutes to do, depending on how long it takes for me to wait to get, because you're also getting people coming in through the drive-through. And on top of that, also, I've been paying for extra pizza sauce. My son likes to dip it in the extra pizza sauce. It's $1 extra. And they've been, before all this started happening, they were forgetting the pizza sauce. So after grabbing my stuff out of the portal, there's no pizza sauce. So I say, "You need to give me pizza sauce." Again, I have to talk to the people. I have to go up to the counter and say, "I need this." That's not what I got the app for. I got the app for so I don't have to do any of that shit. I just want to go in, type my code, grab stuff, and leave. You've got your money. It doesn't matter. I don't need to talk to you. I don't want to talk to you. No offense. I don't. I just want my pizza, and I want to get the hell out of Dodge. And that's really been annoying me lately, that they have been refusing to send me a text saying, "Hey, your pizza's ready." What if I decide not to come and I'm waiting for them to send something and they don't, and like an hour passes? Then what am I going to do? And then on top of that, why aren't they putting it in the Pizza Portal? Why do I have to go up to the fucking counter? The whole reason that they give me a code is so I can type that in and take it out of the Pizza Portal. Sorry, it came to a head today. It just totally pissed me off that I've had to deal with this over the last 2 months. Something else that's been pissing me off also is Fortnite had their new season. It's a mini season. It's only going to last from Friday the 3rd to December 2nd, I believe. And it was due to the fact that one of the seasons this past season was shortened, and you usually start the new chapter in December, and they had a window where they had a month that they had to kill, and they weren't going to add a month to the most recent season. So they decided to try this test where they were bringing everybody back to the first season island, which the original OG players, that's all they bitch about on the Fortnite sites on Facebook, is how they missed the Fortnite island chapter, the chapter 1 island, and how great the game was back then, and how perfect and pristine, and how butterflies and wonderful was the greatest time ever. And it was the nostalgia factor that I talked about in a show months ago. Nostalgia is fine, but you need to move forward. The reason why the game changed is because you guys who were nostalgic for chapter 1 started bitching about how boring it was and how different it was. And then when they changed it up for chapter 2, you started bitching and moaning that you wanted chapter 1 again. And chapter 1 playing this season now is boring as fuck. They shifted the graphics back to the old school graphics, not the good current graphics they had, the background ambient sound, the awesome physics, and the wonderful set location, stuff like that. They reverted back to the crappy style thing, and there's lots of time where you're just running and nobody's around between places. The point of interest are boring as fuck. There's nothing interesting about any of these places. The weapons are not out as much. The shield stuff is not out as much. And you can't drive cars. You can drive golf carts, sure, but it's not cars, and cars go faster and quicker and can break through things, whereas the golf carts cannot. And as I said, the POIs are boring as fuck. And I've been railing about the game going that way because it seems like they're kowtowing to the nostalgia factor assholes. Unfortunately, it kind of proved me that so many people were nostalgic for it that 3.5 million people tried to get into opening day of the new season of Fortnite, crashing it, creating queues to get in, and you getting kicked after playing a game or two because there was so much traffic on the servers. Now, I played the first time today for about 3 hours, and I got kicked once, and then another time when I was waiting in queue, it just kept spiraling. It said waiting. It was taking forever, so I just shut everything down and restarted. Had to wait in queue again for about 2 minutes, but then I got in and never had a problem since then. And it's instead, since it's such a small season, instead of 100-tier battle pass, it's a 70-tier battle pass. And the shop is back to the chapter 1 shop, where it's just one row of things that have a whole bunch of different rows, a whole bunch of different stuff like that. And there's no gold coins, and you can't swim, but you can still slide and mantle, which is not in chapter 1. If they're trying for a chapter 1 experience, they should have dropped that as well, but they didn't. But the only thing that's keeping me interested in this season is that they're going to be changing it up every week. Every week they're going to have a new update, and it's going to this is supposedly the map that was used for chapter 1 season 5. Next week's will be like chapter 1, season 6. And the week after that will be chapter 1, season 7, 8. And the next one will be chapter 1, season 9 and 10, which is the last season. There should be a live event. And then we get the new island. Now, supposedly the new island was leaked today, and it looks a lot different than the one we have now. And it looks interesting. So we'll see how that actually turns out. But for now, it's still fun, I guess. But it's boring. A lot of non-OG people I've seen on the internet have said that this is a crappy season. But then we also see the ones who are just so ecstatic, they're like ejaculating with joy about its return. So it's kind of pissing me off about that. So it's all right. Another thing that pisses me off is Halloween. For a while now, Halloween has slowly been used to be my most favorite holiday of all. One of the reasons why is I lost my virginity on Halloween. Be 30 years next Halloween, since I lost my virginity. So I have an anniversary coming up. But that wasn't the only reason why I liked it. When I was dating my wife and we were living together in our apartment, I would take off Halloween and I would watch Halloween movies, and I would make like a special dinner for her. And we didn't have trick-or-treaters really too much because we lived in an apartment complex. We got some of the kids, I think, in the apartment came and stuff by, so we had to give them some stuff. But I like, again, like with all the holidays, I like to build up to it, and it's in October, which is my favorite month because the leaves are changing and football's back in full strength and the weather's getting cooler. and the colors are amazing, and it's the perfect month. And then it caps with Halloween, and then we get into November, which I like for Thanksgiving, but again, that's more the build up to Thanksgiving, and there's not really that much of a build up because it's a eating holiday, so it's more along the lines of just waiting till you get there. And then when you get there, it's a 4-day work weekend, which is great for me because I love having my 4-day work weekend. Not work week, 4-day weekend. And that's why I like Thanksgiving a lot now. And then Christmas again is the buildup with that. And November 1st is when the Christmas buildup starts. And that's ridiculous also. It used to be after Christmas or after Thanksgiving. So now it's right after Halloween, which is ridiculous. But this Halloween, the last couple years, well, basically, at my work, I've been at my work since 2007, and we had a Halloween costume contest every year. And before COVID, we had a what do you call it? I just had it in my head. Where people would potluck. People would bring stuff in, and then we'd have our costumes at lunchtime and have the judging at lunchtime, and then we eat lunch, and then we go back to work and we find out who won the $50 prizes. I won 7 of those from 2007 to 2019. I won 7 times, and I should have won 8 times, but that's besides the point. Anyway, we hit 2020, and because of COVID, we didn't do it that year. 2021, they didn't have a money costume prize, but some people did dress up. I dressed up as a pimp, and some people dressed up, but we didn't do anything. I don't even think they got us pizza. They might have. I don't think they did, though. So then they announced in 2022 that they were going to up the ante to $200, 2 prizes $200 for a Halloween costume contest. So I figured I had to up the ante in my costume. So I went as Dr. Frankenfurter of the Rocky Horror Picture Show. I thought it was a really brave and interesting costume. My wife did a fantastic job on the makeup, and a lot of people liked it. In the end, though, I lost to somebody who was making fun of a manager. Nothing really original about it, just wore the same clothes the manager wore and walked around, but everybody knew it was her making fun of the manager, and they liked making fun of the manager, and they thought it was fine, so they voted for her. Plus, the majority of them were friends with her anyway, so we have a bunch of younger kids now who all vote for their friends. This year, I thought I came up with a pretty good idea for a hybrid horror costume. Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, and Jason, and I didn't win. Guy who won, had a pretty cool costume with a scary clown sort of thing with a dead baby doll on his lap like that. But again, he hangs out with this gaggle of ladies who are his friends, and they all wanted him to win. And that's probably going to be the case every year. No matter what costume I put on, no matter how great it is, how amazing, I lost last year, which was an amazing costume at the pinnacle of my costume making. And it just does not bode well for me to win anymore. And that pisses me off. And I also think maybe in the background, management who's still pissed at me for whatever reason. That's why they demoted me multiple times from 2016 to 2019. And then furloughed me in 2020 because they didn't like me, and they still probably don't like me, but they put on happy airs or smiles or whatever. I think they also tried to find a way to screw me out of the prize. I'm not a sore loser, so it is what it is, and it's fine. But it just sometimes it's like, why do I even bother? I'm not going to win. And people are always disappointed. Why aren't you going to wear a costume? If I mention that, I'm not thinking about it. You need to wear a costume. It's like you're the guy that wears costumes all the time. And if I didn't, it'd like ruin their perfect little day. Well, then why don't you fucking vote for me and maybe fucking win? Maybe then I would start wearing costumes again. But I'm really contemplating not even wearing one next year, because what's the point? These guys who are friends with this gaggle of girls who seem to control everything and seems to have a good in with management is going to get the votes anyway. No matter what I do, because I thought I did pretty good going all out last year, and I didn't. So And then I got home, and my son went to his friend Hunter's house, and my daughter went to her friend Shendo's house, and I gave out candy. It was cold. We usually had people start around 5:30 and go till about 8 o'clock, probably. Um, People did not start arriving until about 6:30, and it did go till about 8 o'clock. Um, and we only had about 175 people, which sounds like a lot, but when you look at the neighborhood, we tend to do a lot more than that because we get like 3-4 bags of 300-piece candy, and by the end of good Halloween, we're down to maybe half of the third bag. So that's 750 pieces we gave out. Now you usually give out 2 pieces, so you divide that by 2, and you get yourself 300. Some people came down for trick or treat. As I said, this year I was able to make the count because we got the same amount of bags, and then we had a lot left over, and I realized how much we had, like 1.5 empty bags. So I figured, okay, we did about 175 then. And it seemed like it was busy, but it was okay. I mean, it was fine. I was dressed as a Riddler like I always am, and the thing is, not a lot of people in the neighborhood were, had the houses decorated for Halloween as much as they had the last few years. And then the costumes this year just were kind of plain and boring. Now, a lot of them may have been covered up by jackets, stuff like that, because it was brutally cold. But there was no like hot costume. There was not one costume in my neighborhood that I saw multiple times, like a Barbie or Batman or Harley Quinn. I might have seen one of each of those from one person here, but not multiple. Usually when, we have Halloween like this, multiple people dressed in multiple costumes. So of the same costume, I should say, multiple people dressed in the same costume. And again, it seemed like that a lot of it was people just didn't care. They just put on whatever and went around and said trick or treat. And I was fine giving out the candy because it's fine because we were having trick or treaters. But it just seems like it was boring, I don't think my take on it was color because I didn't win the costume contest, but it just did not have the same sort of excitement, as it were. So yeah, I think I went off. I started talking about, so the time change is coming up. So at around 2 a.m., the clocks will revert back to 1 a.m. So you get that hour back. So right now it is 12:07 a.m. So it's physically November 5th right now. It's Bonfire Night, Guy Fawkes Day, whatever you want to call it. But before you go to bed tonight, turn your clocks back. So everything is going to be set for that. So as I said, around 2 a.m., you'll see the clocks revert back to 1 a.m. So there you go. Something exciting did happen on Friday. My daughter is of age. She's a junior in high school right now. And for the last year or so, she's been getting inquiries about college from different places. And she got an email from University of Maryland, Baltimore County, or UMBC, which is down in Catonsville, not far from here, about 26 to 30 minutes from here. And they were doing like sort of a theater workshop sort of thing for high schoolers who are interested in theater. And Noelle read the description. They were going to do a show. They were, and part of this event was we get tickets to go see a play that they were putting on for the fall season. So my daughter automatically signed up for it because it was something she's interested in, and she asked me if I wanted to go with her because she knew my interest in theater. I said yes, of course. When your daughter asks you, to spend some time with you and do something interesting like college prep sort of stuff, you say yes. So I absolutely said yes. So I took off early from work on Friday, and I came home, and we went down to UMBC. The event started at 4:30. We got there early, and we walked around the campus a little bit. It's a nice campus. It's sort of in the middle of a neighborhood, not in the big city. Catonsville is not that big of a city. Catonsville is like Reisterstown, and it's not right in Catonsville. It's off to the side a little bit, but it's like in a neighborhood. And it's a pretty big campus. It's not small. It's not as big as Towson University, but it's a pretty good sized campus, and it's got some nice, it's downhill mostly, and of course going uphill to get back up to the top. They have a massive campus police department with a giant satellite dish. So it's kind of nice. And then we went into the theater building, which is the Arts and Humanities building, which was the newest building on campus. I think they said that it opened in 2012. And I was amazed about how modern it was. Now, I know last time I was in college was 1995, so it was almost 30 years ago. When I was in college. And of course, things are going to change over 30 years. And I'd never been to UMBC before. So it was fun to see that. But I was amazed about how technologically advanced it is and how this college has such a well-funded arts department, theater, music, dance, art programs. When most colleges are cutting those course loads because of fucking asshole Republican maggot shitheads. And so it was breathtaking to see what you can do in theater now as opposed to what I was doing almost 30 years ago. And I wish that we had this technology 30 years ago because we could have had a lot of fun with it when I was actually in plays in college. But it is what it is. But it was really cool. So Noelle actually had a little class, like an hour and a half lecture class thing about sound design. That's what she signed up for. There was a sound design one and a movement class that if you were interested in more in that, then the technical aspects, you could take that. And the technical aspects, if you were interested in that, you could take that. And then they took us on a tour of the facility. They have 2 theaters and a rehearsal space, all of which have massive amounts of lights, incredible sound systems. I think they said the rehearsal studio has, or either the black box, which is one of the smaller theaters, has a 5.1 Dolby digital sound. So that's crazy. And then the main theater itself is just, it's very small. The acoustics are outstanding, but there's massive amounts of lighting, sound, and they have LED screens. So you could project stuff onto that to add even more of a thing to it. And so we got a tour of the facilities. We got to see all the theaters and the rehearsal space and the workshop. And we didn't get a chance to see the dressing rooms or the costume shops, stuff like that. But they were just much like how the rest of the stuff was. It's very impressive. So then we went down and had dinner at their cafeteria, food service area, I should say. And again, this food service area was unlike any cafeteria I'd ever been in college. You walk in, it looks like a freaking restaurant. There's a woman at the front with like a computerized thing that you have to either show your ID or pay to have food. Then you have an area over in the corner, which is a bunch of comfy chairs, the giant screen TV over there. They had a DJ playing music while we came in. There were a bunch of little tables around the front that had little candles on it. And then it went backwards. And then as you're going backwards, there's more tables, bigger tables. And then there was a section where students who are taking culinary courses can practice their food making to create culinary stuff that the students can try and give them experience at the same time of doing that. So you had that. And then you pushed on. There was a massive kitchen that has like an almost all you can eat sort of thing, had 5 or 6 different windows of different types of food. They had different islands that had sodas and juices. They had an island that had cereal and stuff like that. They had an island that had ice cream and desserts. And they had a deli area. They had salad area. They had like a pizza bar. And then more places to sit. Then they have the dishwashing area. They have areas where they grow some of their own food. And then there's a little room with more tables for people to sit at. So it's a massive cafeteria that, as I said, looks exactly like a restaurant. It is insane how amazing that was. So we had dinner there. And as we were walking back to the Arts and Humanities building to watch the show, we passed another building that had actual sort of like, college restaurant type places or bar looking places, even though you can't have alcohol. But there was one area that we could see into that had massive, big screen TV than the one in the cafeteria, with lots of people sitting and watching sports, and then tables, and then other areas where you could get other stuff as well. Albright had a cafeteria and also had a place called the Sub, which you could get the sort of stuff. They had like the UMBC had a cafeteria and then like 3 or 4 subs. So it was crazy to see all that. The library is a massive building, about as big as some buildings in downtown Baltimore. It's insane how big it is. I wasn't sure exactly what it was, but it is a massive library. And then we went back to the theater, and they were it was the second night of their 6 performances of Bram Stoker's Dracula, but this time it was adapted as to be what they call a feminist revenge tale. And they adapted Bram Stoker's Dracula, kept the basic storyline down, but had the women characters be a bit more stronger. Like Renfield was a female and Van Helsing was a female. And they still set it like in Victorian era times. And there was an amazing amount of humor, but there was also a lot of special effects, a lot of gore and blood. There was a sequence where Dracula tears the throat out of a character, and you actually see the blood come spurting out of his hands. They have stakes, so they were, staking people. There was a guy that got hit hard, was bleeding, out of his mouth. So you see that happening. You had the LED screens showing all kinds of crazy stuff. The sound effects were amazing. Like you could have characters reverb or echo when they're speaking if you wanted to, even though they were just speaking normally. The computerized sound system changed it all up like that. And the breaks between scenes were filled with female punk band covers of Nirvana songs and other stuff like that, and also had No Doubt's Just a Girl in there as well. And it was jarring in a lot of ways to do that. But the show itself was phenomenal. The actors and actresses were amazing. As I said, had a good amount of humor in it. And it was also just very well done. The set design was really cool. It was very minimal, but you got a feeling about what you were actually seeing. And it was actually very impressive. What they did, small cast of about 7 people, 8 people in it, and they all did good. In fact, the guy who played Dracula, there's one bit where he's speaking in a very thick Eastern European, almost like Gru from Despicable Me sort of voice. And the more he's around people, he can start mimicking their way they speak. And so Jonathan Harker was British, so he was able to start mimicking the British accent. And Van Helsing is a female American cowboy doctor sort of thing, and had a very strong American accent. He was imitating that as well. And there's a bit at the end where Dracula's fighting Van Helsing, and he goes through a progression of all the accents all at one time, and it's not jarring, but you can tell when he was changing the accent, but it didn't draw you away from you were watching. It was just sort of a way for, he was needling Van Helsing, and it was so good how good it was. And just the Renfield character, the female who played Renfield, was outstanding. The entire cast was outstanding, and the lighting, the special effect, all that stuff was amazing. I think Noel and I had a really good time. So, they have a program there for you to get a BA in theater production and design, which is what Noel's interested in. And there's a sheet of paper which shows what she would have to do in the school to get there. So it has all of UMBC's, what you need to do to graduate. So like, you have to take, English courses and science and math and stuff like that, and a language. And then it showed all the stuff you had to take for your design stuff. It says, okay, you have to take all these design classes to graduate with a BA in design, production design. But then this set of classes, you only have to take like 3 of these, and it can be any 3 that you want. And there's like 15 there, so you have to choose from. And then these ones over here, you need to take 2 in order to graduate with the BA. And again, there's like 8 there, so each one is different and stuff like that. And in order to graduate, if even though you're interested in production design and set design, stuff like that, you still have to take courses in acting, script writing, costuming, if you're not interested in that, sound, if you're not interested in that, scene works, how to build the set work, stuff like that, even if you're not interested in that. And then you have to do your regular class load on top of that as well. Now, what's also really cool is that you get college credit for doing a show. So if you're working on a show, even while taking all your required classes, you're still getting extra credits towards your graduation working on that show. And that goes both ways. If you're acting and you want the acting BA program, which they have, if you're acting in a show, you get college credit for acting in it, even though it's not technically a class, because you're doing it in your spare time. You're still getting college credit for it. It is the only school in Maryland that offers a theater teaching degree. If you're not interested in being on stage or working behind the scenes or whatever, but you want to teach theater at college, high school level, whatever, you can at UMBC. They have a program where you can get your teaching certificate and your theater thing, and they meld them into one class. And by the end of it, you will be able to teach theater at local schools, universities, high schools, whatever. Also, if you have a project you're working on and you're able to get a grant from somebody or money from somebody that lets you say you want to go over to England for 2 weeks or 2 months to write a screenplay or whatever, because you have to do research over there because it's based in England, and you have the money for it, they will let you go during this school season and you'll get credit for it. The guy who was our tour guide, not tour guide, he was taking us back from the cafeteria back to the Arts and Humanities building. That's what he's doing in the spring. He's going over to Europe rather, for 2 months to write his play that he's writing, and he got grant money to actually do it. So it's really, and then there's someone who, was going to different places all over the country to work in internships or whatever for a while that go towards their college credit. And alumni, one of the alumnus from this program, is now one of the people operating the Sphere or the Dome in Las Vegas, which is all that LED stuff. They help run that. So that's really cool. So it was a very educational, very entertaining visit. And I think Noelle was really interested in it because it did have a BA in production design, which she's really interested in. And she also wants to be kind of like a playwright, scriptwriter. Also, she has to take playwriting also. So she'll be able to do that too. So pretty good, some pretty interesting stuff there. All right. I spent 43 minutes talking about like personal stuff. Let's get into the meat of things now. For all the morons who says that once Disney decided they were going to do Daredevil and like the Punisher, stuff like that, and who were afraid that they were going to neuter it because it's Disney, take a look at the Echo trailer. Echo was supposed to be a new series from Marvel MCU that was supposed to come out in December, but they pushed it to January. I think January 10th is when it's due out. But the first trailer for it came out this week and has Vincent D'Onofrio as the Kingpin front and center with it. And then you also see Echo in it also. And it is hugely violent, and it is dark, and it is rated MA. So for those who think that they are not going to take Daredevil seriously, you can go fuck yourself. And your Disney hate, you assholes. It was an interesting trailer, very violent, very intense. And D'Onofrio just killing it in the role, and the actress who played Echo was killing it too. And you also even got a little bit of a view of Daredevil in there too, so we know he's in that too. So you got a little bit of everything there. FX has a mini series based on James Clavell's book Shogun. They've done one before, but this time, this one is entirely cast with Asian actors, with one exception. The white actor who's a white character in the book, is a white actor as well. It is an epic trailer. Came out this week, due out next year, I believe. So it looks pretty interesting. The Beatles released their final song of all time, probably this week. It's called Now and Then, and Disney Plus has a whole documentary about how they created it. The basic thing you need to know about it was, before I give you my review of it, is John Lennon, before he passed away, had written a song called Now and Then. He had the piano, and there's demos of him recording it, singing the song and playing the piano. And that's where it remained. It would remain a demo. It was potential that if he wouldn't have been murdered, if he made his next album, that song would have been on it. It was just a way to look at it, and then he can play it back, and he can change lyrics or change the music if he doesn't like it, and then he can record it, and it would be released on a new John Lennon album, like in 81 or 82. But unfortunately, he was murdered and was unable to do that. But the demo still existed, and George, Ringo, and Paul knew that it still existed because, going through his stuff like that. So they put it in a vault or whatever. And then for some reason, I don't know how it happened, in 1995, George Harrison decided to play around with it. He got the permission to do it, and he laid down like a bass line for the Now and Then song. And that was, I don't exactly know why. I mean, watch the documentary. It'll probably explain all this in greater detail. I'm just going by what I heard. So in 95, he laid down a bass line to the demo. Excuse me. So now you had John Lennon on piano and singing, and you had George Harrison doing a bass line going with the way the song was playing, and he created himself to figure out, okay, how would this best integrate with what John was singing and playing. And then that went to the vault. And then George passed away years ago, so all that's left is Ringo and Paul. So I think last year, again, for whatever reason, it just popped up. Paul was talking to Ringo, says, you know what we should do? We should get that demo. We've already got George and John on it. Let's just add our parts to it and get it cleaned up and professionally taken care of. And we can release it as the last Beatles song. Ringo's like all in. He was on, so he laid down his drum aspect of it, and Paul did another guitar bit and some piano as well. They were able to edit it and clean it all up, and they released it. It had a worldwide release, I believe, on Wednesday, like November 2nd at 10 a.m. And it happened to be on the radio station I was listening to, so I listened to it. And it's okay. It does not sound like a Beatles song. What it does sound like is, what if John Lennon did not get murdered and the Beatles decided to reform sometime in the 80s and started creating more music and albums, but using, the music at the time. So like, in the 1960s, they were very much, in the style of music at that time in the 60s. And then when Lennon went on his own and McCartney went on and Ringo and George went on the 70s and early 80s, their music was viewed as, being from the 70s and 80s as well. So this song to me seemed like if the Beatles had gotten back together and had created a bunch of albums in the 80s and early 90s, and this was more of a early 90s song from one of their albums from the 1990s. That's what this song sounded like. And literally, and it's not because I have REM on the brain, they're my favorite band in the world, but it literally sounded like an REM song. It did not sound like a Beatles song. But again, as I said, it might have been what the Beatles sound would have been like in the 90s if they were still a band and all four of them were still alive and still making music. So all in all, it was a what the cool kids call it now, mid. It's a mid song. It's not outstanding. Doesn't sound very Beatles like, but the fact that they released it, and they also released another one back in the 90s as well, which sound more like the Beatles than this one did. So there's that. Baseball season is finally over. The Rangers, who knocked the Orioles out of the playoffs, end up winning their first ever World Series this year, beating the Arizona Diamondbacks. Was it 4-1? So they only played 5 games and only lost one of those. So congratulations to the Rangers. So now baseball is over and done with, and people can focus more on football, basketball, and hockey. Now, Sunday, the 30th of October, was a rare time where all 4 major sports had games going on all at the same time. The World Series, NFL, NBA, and NHL were all on Sunday, the 30th. 29th, excuse me. So it's kind of cool. Shore Leave, the Star Trek convention that's been almost 50 years in Hunt Valley, the hotel that they always were into shut down on Halloween, and Shore Leave needs to find a new home. They finally have found a new home. They will be announcing it next week. So come into the show next week. I'll have the location of Shore Leave for next year. So there will be a Shore Leave next year. Just don't know where it is yet. We'll find out next weekend. All right. Danny DeVito and Billy Crystal are writing a Throw Mama from the Train sequel. That was a movie they made back in the late 80s, and I don't think it needs a sequel here almost 40 years later, but here we are. And I don't know what they're going to do. It really doesn't make a lot of sense. Oh, well. One thing that I've been doing lately with Facebook is I've been checking. I always watch a lot of reels like that, and some of them are the stories from Instagram that are posted on Facebook and stuff like that. But some of the reels are really, really cool. And there's one awesome female stand-up comedian named Taylor Tomlinson. And she got some big news this week. Steve Carell has signed her to be the, I guess the head, the host, I guess, of his new show After Midnight, which is a talk show sort of hybrid sort of thing that would come on after the Colbert Show during the week. So good for Taylor Tomlinson. A new class of planets has been created. They're called Hycean worlds, and they are mostly worlds that are covered with water because of a lot of the exoplanets that have been discovered. There have been at least 5 that scientists believe have some form of full liquid planet with any land on it, from various clues from different telescopes and testing and stuff like that. They believe that there are at least 5 all-water worlds out there, and so they create this new class called Hycean worlds. Psychological thriller If She Burns has cast Victoria Pedretti, Asa Butterfield, Justice Smith, and Alex Wolff will be directing it once all the SAG-AFTRA stuff gets taken care of. As I said, Halloween was earlier this week. A bear was photographed on one of those doorbell cameras stealing candy, Halloween candy, from a house in Florida. So basically, a lot of people, they don't like answering the door, so they just put the bowl of candy out and say, take one piece. Yeah, right, they're going to take one piece, please. But they do have a camera on it, so I know what they're going to do, bust if they take more than one piece. I doubt it. Anyway, the video surfaced of a bear actually eating and stealing candy from one of the bowls, or the bowl of candy outside this person's house. I think that's kind of cool. Speaking of kind of horror stuff, Terrifier 3, the gory killer clown movie series. The 3rd movie has been greenlit. It is due out on October 25th, 2024, and will be set at Christmas. So instead of Halloween, or I mean, it's not always at Halloween, but instead of like a regular time, it will be set at Christmas. So asteroid dust has been found at the Chicxulub crater, which confirms that this was indeed the cause of the dinosaur extinction, that indeed a comet did hit the Earth and did cause the extinction of the dinosaurs. So, asteroid, comet, whatever. Asteroid hit, whatever. There was asteroid dust at this location, which meant that it actually happened. We've got a couple more cryptid sightings this week. Bigfoot was sighted on Google Earth, which is always interesting when you see that type of stuff. And another Loch Ness monster sighting. This time a woman saw a black mass the size of two double-decker bus. Oh, no, I'm sorry. One the size of a double-decker bus swimming in the loch. Those are two of the cryptid stories we got going on here. We've got more coming down the line here in a little bit. Campfire s'mores cocoa was a recipe that I saw on Facebook, which is a very interesting idea, but it is out there now. Reese's Caramel Big Cups are now out. You can get some at Walmart now. They will be available everywhere here in a little bit. So it's just basically the giant Reese's cup, but this time it has caramel in it. The Reese's big ones have had the Reese's Puffs, potato chips, pretzels in it as well. So the Reese's Pieces in it as well. So this is just the next one in their collection of stuff. So I love myself some Reese's. I love myself some caramel. So we'll see how that works out. California Nudist Resort, which is the oldest natural resort in the country, is now for sale in a real estate in the real estate market. So if you're interested in owning the oldest nudist colony in this country, I think it's still running, to be honest. You can go ahead and buy it now. A moose was filmed wandering past a Massachusetts elementary school this week as well. I didn't know moose were that far north, but I think there was a story I did a couple weeks ago that there was one spotted in upstate New York. So I guess maybe they're starting to migrate a little bit closer over here. I'm loath to admit it, but yes, Christmas season is upon us. And Krispy Kreme Donuts, which has recently been doing a good job of making sort of themed donut sort of stuff. This year's themed donut for their holiday season is Elf, and you're going to have the Elf Krispy Kreme Donut Collection, which is going to be due out later in November. So good on that. Speaking of Walmart, talked about Walmart a little earlier because that's where the Reese's Caramel Cups are presently, and they'll eventually make their way to your local grocery store and gas station and stuff like that. But Walmart stores are apparently getting a $9 billion makeover. So hopefully it'll clean some stuff up, make it be more advantageous to shopping. Maybe they'll open up more self-service lanes, better selection of stuff, better keeping things in stock. You ever go into like a Walmart, it looks dirty and messy and stuff like that. Hopefully this will help keep it from being that way. A new mosasaur species, Jormungandr, the wild serpent, as it has been named, has been discovered in North Dakota. So they found a new giant creature that existed in prehistoric times in North Dakota. Lay's wavy fried green tomatoes chips are back. It's a favorite by some people, and it is up there. Hostile Dimensions is a found footage multiversal horror film due out in 2024. Basically, it's the multiverse exists, and there's doorways that start appearing all over the world where horrors from other multiverses come in, and it's all found footage stuff. So it sounds kind of interesting. Found footage is a very intriguing film genre, and there's another found footage story later on in the show, but that's kind of interesting. Stardew Valley, which is a fun little video game similar to Animal Island or whatever that is. That was huge during the pandemic, Animal Kingdom, whatever it is. Stardew Valley is basically you're like running a farm, and that's what the whole video game is. You're trying to run a farm. But it's a popular game, and the creators of it are looking to make it into a movie. Can be live action, anime, doesn't matter to them, but they want to make it into a movie. The creators, however, have an interesting take on who they would like to handle the making of the film. They have two ideas of who they would like to handle a Stardew Valley movie. One makes perfect sense considering it's a video game about farming and lots of scenery and stuff like that. They want Studio Ghibli, Hayao Miyazaki's film company, to maybe make an animated movie of Stardew Valley. I think that would probably be the best option for them to make a movie. But then they throw this second one out there that makes me go, I would love to see what he would do with it. One of my favorite directors of all time, who I would emulate some of, not everything, but some of the way of the shots that he does. I love a lot of his shots. A lot of what he did has got me interested in becoming a director, which I'm not anymore because I'm a lazy fuck. But when I was still young and idealistic and I had an idea to be a filmmaker, this director was one of my favorites. Stardew Valley creators would like maybe not only my Studio Ghibli maybe to do a film, but David Lynch to take a whack at Stardew Valley. And I started thinking about that. I like, that would be really an interesting idea about what he could do with that. And it would be intriguing and it'd be interesting, as would Studio Ghibli, to see what they could do with it. That's more the safer idea because that seems like right in their wheelhouse. But to do a David Lynch Stardew Valley movie, it's just, there's something interesting about that. From the wild worlds of Alaska, a video went viral this Halloween week about a video of a tent in an Alaska national park that was engulfed by daddy long legs. The video shows hundreds of daddy long legs just flowing over this tent in Alaska National Park. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, continuing the Planet of the Apes trailer, that trilogy that came out at the beginning of this century and has had 3 successful films. This is the next in the series. This was called Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. And this one, using the similar sort of mocap sort of take for the apes, is pushing it more into the old school Planet of the Apes thing, where the apes have taken over the earth and humans are treated nothing more than slave labor. So the new trailer looks intriguing. I haven't seen the original trilogy yet, so I'm not going to see this, but it is set to be one of the big summer releases of 2024 if they do not move the date. As of now, May 24th, 2024, Memorial Day weekend, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes will be released in theaters. And the first trailer came out this week. Ryan Reynolds, this is the Warner Brothers Flash, as he absolutely should have, and claims that Grant Gustin, who played the Flash in the CW's TV version, is the one true Flash of the DC universe. So you gotta love Ryan Reynolds. If you don't love Ryan Reynolds, you're crazy. If you love Ryan Reynolds, you can't disagree with him on this one, because the Snyderverse Flash is one of the worst versions of it, played by one of the worst people ever to exist. And the fact that they released his movie this summer just goes to show you that Warner Brothers doesn't give a fuck about anything. So good job, Ryan Reynolds. We appreciate it. Curb Your Enthusiasm Season 12 is due out February 2024. I've never watched the show, but for fans of Larry David and his show, you can catch the new season February of 2024. A heartwarming little story. A French man and a Portuguese woman, who are both avid Star Trek fans, met at a Star Trek convention and were interested in each other. The problem is the woman spoke Portuguese and the man spoke French, and they couldn't understand each other's natural language. However, they're at a Star Trek convention, and they decided to strike a conversation in Klingon, because both of them knew Klingon and they knew what the other one was talking about. So they conversed in Klingon. And during this conversation, they set up a date. So they went out on a date, had dinner, spoke in Klingon the whole time because that was the only way they could communicate. And then they started dating. Again, speaking in Klingon, but both of them started learning the other's language so they could actually speak in regular language with them. And now they both can speak each other's language and Klingon, and they're married. So a fun little story here. Kind of nice. Some anniversaries this week. Stephen King's first novel and his first film, Carrie, came out 47 years ago this week, 1976. Charlie's Angels, the Cameron Diaz, Lucy Liu, Drew Barrymore, Bill Murray, McGee version came out in the year 2000, so this week, so it's 23 years old. Godzilla Day, the first appearance ever of Godzilla was on November 3rd, 1954, so 54. So the 70th anniversary of Godzilla is next year, so this is 69th birthday for Godzilla. Nice. And the first ever night football game came out on November 3rd, 1929. So that's 29, 39, 49, 59, 69, 79, 89, 99, 2009, 2019. 94 years ago. So, kind of interesting about that. And it was played on the border of Providence and Pawtucket up there in the north. Gunnar Henderson, more sports ball here. Gunnar Henderson, the Orioles shortstop third baseman combo, was named the Major League Baseball Players Association Outstanding Rookie of the AL. That is not Rookie of the Year. That is voted on by someone else. But this is another award, and Gunnar Henderson won it. Also, where's the other one here? Gunnar also, along with Adley Rutschman and Anthony Santander, were nominated for the Silver Slugger Award. So we'll find out if they're going to, any of them are going to win that here soon as well. So that's kind of good. One of the things I love about Thanksgiving is the Macy's Day Thanksgiving Day Parade. That's a 3-hour fun thing to do while, it's the first day of your 4-day weekend and you're not going to your family's house till later in the day. So you're getting up early, you slept in a little bit, you have your coffee and some donuts, you're just sort of chilling out, looking at your phone, and then 9 a.m. hits and you turn on NBC and there is the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, a tradition that even existed during 2020's COVID era. Parades that have balloons, marching bands. The first hour presents Broadway shows doing numbers from their show. This year, Back to the Future will be doing one of the numbers in front of the Macy's building, in the first hour of the show. And then the rest of the show, you have the marching bands, dancers, floats, and balloons all coming through here, which a lot of people like seeing. A couple of Maryland schools have gone to the Macy's Day Parade and marched in it, so that's always a lot of fun. And there's always new balloons coming out. Like this year, there's a one-piece balloon coming out for the anime/live action show. So that's kind of cool. However, there is something different this year about the Thanksgiving Macy's Day Parade. It's usually at 9 a.m. start time. This year, it'll be starting a whole half hour early at 8:30 a.m., which makes it a little bit too early for me because I like to sleep in a little bit on Thanksgiving, so I might miss a little bit of that. But yeah, the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade has been moved to an 8:30 a.m. start this year. Continuing with Thanksgiving, Baskin Robbins a few years ago debuted their turkey cake, which is a ice cream / regular cake shaped like a turkey. It is now back. Will be back in stock for your Thanksgiving dinner if you would like, for dessert. But this year, they're also trying something else different. They are trying a new flavor of ice cream that they have named Flavor of the Month. So you'll be able to go to your Baskin-Robbins now and give it a try. It's the Thanksgiving Fixins ice cream. Sweet potato flavored ice cream with bits of honey cornbread mixed with Ocean Spray cranberry sauce. That's an ice cream. And you can try it at Baskin-Robbins before actually getting a cone or cup if you want to. I let my sister know about this because her husband, my brother-in-law, his favorite meal of all time is Thanksgiving meal. And I was like, he should try this ice cream because last couple of years, Brock's, the makers of candy corn, have created Thanksgiving candy corn that have the flavors of cranberry and turkey and gravy and mashed potatoes and stuff like that. So now ice cream is moving on to that event as well. Tiny mice have been discovered at altitudes thought uninhabitable for mammals. So that's kind of an interesting scientific thing to see that about. Eggo Winterberry Pancakes is a temporary flavor for the seasonal flavor of pancakes from Eggo. Guy Fieri is launching Flavor Town, his spiked fruit punch that he's doing with a local brewery called Two Roads Brewery. Superman and Lois, the last remaining CWDC show, is being canceled after its fourth season, which is due out in 2024. As long as SAG-AFTRA gets their strike done, The Last of Us Season 2, the huge smash hit for the Max TV show, a Max TV station, should start filming in early 2024. I talked about Fortnite earlier. They apparently are, this month they're not really doing the collaborations because Chapter 1 never did that. But a collaboration is on the horizon as they've revealed another Stranger Things collaboration. They did one way earlier. I guess there was one in season 1, I guess, because I don't remember one being in season 2 unless it was season 2, Chapter 1. Which might have been. But there is going to be another Stranger Things collaboration. This time they're going to release an 11 skin, which is really good. I still haven't heard if they're bringing back the Doctor Who collaboration, which would have been awesome. Would have been a mini battle pass and it would have been great. Sounds like they had a lot of good stuff. And now, who knows, there's also a Lego collaboration coming. So we'll see how that goes. I mentioned Letterkenny at the beginning of the show. Letterkenny's final season will be debuting on Crave on Christmas Day and on Hulu on Boxing Day, which makes perfect sense because it's a Canadian show. So there we go. Prison Break, that late 90s, early 2000 popular show, which had a revival that I thought failed a few years ago, is getting another revival at Hulu, another chapter, as they call it. So we'll see how that goes with that. Speaking of Hulu, Futurama, which had a successful return to Hulu. They've already renewed it for a second season. So that's in the works and is due out later, I think earlier next year. And then they announced this week that they're also renewing it for 2 more years. So there'll be at least 4 seasons, new seasons of Futurama on Hulu. The Fall Guy trailer, based on the TV show with Lee Majors. They're making it into a movie with Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt. First trailer for that came out. It's due out on March 1st, 2024. It looks like a funny action comedy about a stunt person who gets caught up in investigating crimes, and hopefully they want it to lead to a franchise. So we'll see what happens. Cedar Fair, an owner of the Dorsey Park amusement parks, is set to combine with Six Flags to create a company worth over $8 billion. So that'll be interesting to see that. Disney is set to buy Comcast's remaining 33% stock in Hulu for, again, $8 billion. So $8 billion is the big number right now. Wendy's Peppermint Frosty is due back on November 14th. So they are giving it a little leeway after Halloween before they jump into full Christmas winter mode. Starbucks holiday drinks debuted, or holiday menu, I should say, debuted on November 2nd. So unlike, Wendy's, which is waiting until the 14th, Starbucks you can already get your Christmas cups and Christmas drinks at Starbucks right now. Excuse me. Where did I send that? I already marked off. Okay. Ghirardelli milk chocolate gingerbread cookies are coming out later this year as well for the holidays. A Minnesota zoo is caring for orphan sea lions or sea otters that came from Alaska. So that's kind of cool. Ben & Jerry's has a pecan pie ice cream flavor coming up here soon in a little bit. And the rest is all movie stuff, I think. First up, Xmas trailer, I think it's a Peacock movie about a man whose ex-girlfriend is invited to Christmas dinner because his family liked her and wants her to come to Christmas dinner, but he's bringing his new girlfriend, so it's going to be sort of a whole Hallmark sort of Christmas thing, but it's not a Hallmark Christmas movie. We got those two real quick, so I'm already on this, so I'll get those in a second. Death of a Unicorn, Paul Rudd and Jenna Ortega, starring in an A24 film with John Carpenter scoring it. So I'm not sure if it's going to be some kind of a horror film or whatever. Not much information is given about it, but A24 is making it, so it means that this film is probably going to start filming here soon because A24 signed a deal with SAG-AFTRA and said actors, if they want to make stuff, they will follow whatever they want. They will give them whatever they want, and they signed a deal for that. Agent Recon, Chuck Norris returns to action with this sci-fi action film. Probably not going to get any traction anywhere, and probably not going to release in theaters, but he is in a movie. Genie is Richard Curtis's, the writer of Love Actually, Notting Hill, Four Weddings and a Funeral, stuff like that. It's a new film that he directed and stars Melissa McCarthy as a genie who meets up with Papa Kawaki Esedu, who is a hardworking guy whose wife leaves him and takes his daughter from him around Christmas time. So he releases this genie, played by Melissa McCarthy, and there is not just 3 wishes, there are unlimited wishes. And because this guy's a nice guy and she's never been out in the real world, whatever, he takes the genie out and enjoy life. So it looks adorable, looks cute, looks like a really good Richard Curtis film. However, it is only available on Peacock on the day before Thanksgiving, so I will not be able to watch it until it comes out on DVD, which is a shame because I kind of want to see it, but oh well. One movie I will be able to see, as I mentioned McGee earlier, he's directing a new film called Family Switch. It's going to be on Netflix, November 30th. It's going to star Jennifer Garner, Ed Helms, Emma Myers, and Brady Noon. And the premise is, we've seen this one before, but not to this scale, like the Freaky Fridays and the 17 Agains and stuff like that, where a child and a parent switch places and their lives, get upended, but they learn to appreciate each other when they're in each other's skin, and then they get back to normal, stuff like that. This one, though, happens on a whole family, whereas this is a family that they're still together, but there are issues. And leading up to this holiday season, things just aren't going great. So there's this whole big fight. And so the daughter, played by Emma Myers, wishes that she could live a day in her mom's life. And Jennifer Garner's like, well, I'd like to live a day in your life. And the father's like to live a day in his son's life. His son like to live a day in his father's life. And then also by happenstance, because part of a comedy, is the baby switches places with the dog. So the baby's in the dog and the dog is in the baby. And it happens. So they all switch. And so they got to figure out a way to get everything back to normal. So it looks like an adorable, cute little thing. There was a 13 going on 30 joke and stuff like that. So we'll see. The Bad Guys, a very bad holiday trailer. The Bad Guys was a animated film that came out during COVID, did pretty good, so they were making it a sequel. This is called a very bad holiday trailer. The Shepherd trailer is a short film on Disney Plus about a World War II pilot who is doing a flight during Christmas Day, but has engine problems and then is afraid he's going to die, but somehow prays or whatever to land safely, and we learn about his past and stuff like that. So it's interesting. Keanu Reeves is going to be heading up a documentary based on the Formula One cars. So we got a trailer for that documentary. So that's it for the movie stuff. Cryptid stuff. Yowie, which is the Australian Bigfoot. There's allegedly a Yowie in Australia ripped apart a boar in half and left footprints at a nearby spot this week. They had the remains of the boar and the footprint there, so that's what they were expecting. And a Yeti scalp has been found in Nepal, so it's interesting. One notable death this week: Bobby Knight, college coach known for throwing chairs at the referees and yelling at his kids and just being kind of a complete douchebag, but won a lot of the time, died at the age of 83. Next up, baby kangaroos loose in West Baltimore. Cameras picked up a baby kangaroo hopping around in West Baltimore this week. Assumptions are that it was a pet that got out because the zoo doesn't really have any baby kangaroos that I know of. A rare albino porcupine was spotted on a camera in New Hampshire. So that's pretty cool. Oh, Christmas Village is coming back to the Baltimore Inner Harbor. It was a successful event the last few years. It's going to take over the entire harbor area with like all kinds of music and arts and crafts facilities and food and stuff like that. So it's a big deal. Ahsoka has been renewed for a second season, so that's was not wholly unexpected. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, the newest and last Indiana Jones movie, is set to debut on Disney Plus on December 1st. Now, there's always, people are able to make Photoshops or whatever, or create their own things about potential Lego sets. This one could be intriguing for Marylanders. Apparently, there's a picture circulating of a Lego bushel of crab set. I don't know. This, to me, it sounds more along the lines that somebody photoshopped it or made it up themselves, and it's not an official Lego building block thing, but it's still kind of neat looking when you saw that. Sesame Street will be reimagined after Max's contract with it is set to expire. So they're going to refurbish Sesame Street and revamp it. Now, Halloween is a great time for inflatables, and there's and giant skeleton statues and Mike Myers inflatables, stuff like that. But this one house this year had an inflatable xenomorph, the alien from the Aliens movies, which I don't think exists, but this was a giant one. I mean, it was about the size of the giant skeleton, and there's also a bunch of inflatable eggs. So I don't know if this person created that or whatever, but it was really kind of cool. And it was wish it'd be kind of true. It'd be kind of neat to see that. Nebraska town is in desperate need of residents that they are giving away land for free in order to get people to show up. Bertha's Mussels, an iconic bar in Fells Point, closed its doors after 51 years this week. The first day of November, I was leaving to go to work, and discovered snow flurries. There were snow flurries in the forecast, but I didn't believe it. But as I was driving, I saw stuff flying past my headlights, and then stuff was splattering on my windshield. So I didn't get a really good look at it. It didn't last too long since my wife and daughter and son didn't see it. But we did get snow flurries on November 1st this week. Another local thing. A Baltimore dad and son built a Domino sugar factory costume for Halloween. Domino Sugar is the iconic thing shot you see all the time in NFL games and baseball games, stuff like that. Domino Sugar's lit up in red, and it's got these smokestacks, stuff like that. It's really cool looking. But a kid and his dad created a Domino Sugar costume for Halloween. So that's pretty cool. Here we go. We Bury the Dead is Daisy Ridley's new thriller about grief, loss, and the undead. So that could be interesting. Speaking of Daisy Ridley, J.J. Abrams, who introduced her in the Star Wars movie that he directed and has gotten into a lot of trouble with Max, has finally had the final nail in his coffin at Max shut, as his Constantine TV show has been scrapped as well. So every one of his items has been scrapped that he was brought on and paid big money to create, and they were all scrapped for various reasons. Zoe Kravitz and Channing Tatum got engaged this week. Congratulations to the happy couple. Bradley Cooper, who did the voice of Rocket Raccoon in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, dressed up as Rocket Raccoon for Halloween this year. You go, Bradley Cooper. I don't know what that says. Pebble cereal flavored candy canes are due out this holiday season. So good on that. Jason Segel, through a surprise performance of his Dracula puppet musical that he created for the movie Forgetting Sarah Marshall. So that's kind of neat. I have no idea what this says. So it's always one, so I don't know what that says. There's a movie called Project Eerie, which is a found footage horror film that appeared on Amazon Prime Video during Halloween. And it's an intriguing idea about a group of guys who go out on Halloween and are just traveling around the neighborhood and looking at all the Halloween stuff and discover an old empty laboratory facility and decide, hey, it's Halloween, let's go take a look at it. So they're videotaping all that, and they find these folders, stuff like that, for something called Project Eerie. So they steal that, they grab a CD or DVD that is there, and they say they're going to play it on their TV to see what it is. And they put in there, as soon as they put it in there, weird things start happening as demonic creatures, stuff like that, start chasing them and stuff like that. So it looks kind of interesting and intriguing. So it's kind of cool. Yeah, something sold for $1.68 million this week, so I don't know. Juno, the satellite that's orbiting Jupiter now, photographed a horrifying face on Jupiter for Halloween. Now, it's just the way that the clouds and stuff like that formed, but they took a picture of it and it looked like a hugely demonic face on Halloween, so just kind of funny. The Leader trailer, there wasn't a trailer, but the Leader has announced that Michael C. What's his face? Hall, who was Dexter, and Grace Cameron Curry, something like that, have joined the cast of the Heaven's Gate cult biopic that's being made. Divinity trailer, I didn't watch it, but it's a sci-fi trailer. Sci-fi thriller came out this week. Quiz Lady is another film coming out on Hulu with Awkwafina, Sandra Oh, and Will Ferrell. I didn't see the trailer for that, but that the trailer came out this week. In Amsterdam, they have cat parades where cats dress up in costumes and parade down the street. That's kind of cool. BBC America has announced a Tales of the TARDIS spin-off series that'll be coming during this new Doctor Who run going up here. It's a new spin-off that'll be focusing on former Doctors and their companions. So they're going to get some of the older actors to portray the Doctor, and their companions are going to come back and they're going to have new adventures and stuff like that. So looks interesting. The Great Pottery Throwdown is a new reality show set to debut in 2024, and Seth Rogen, of all people, is a guest judge on it. Jack Harlow will be performing at halftime at the Packers-Lions Thanksgiving game. I don't know who this person is, so I guess it's someone big because they mentioned it. I don't care much because Dolly Parton's going to be the Dallas Cowboys Washington Commanders game on Thanksgiving. Barbenheimer was the big story this past summer, so somebody, of course, made a Barbenheimer Halloween display at their Newport Beach house in California. I think it's kind of cool. Speaking of Elf, Brox is releasing Swirly Twirly Gumdrops and Candy Cane something mellow creams due out for this holiday season, all set to Elf. I guess Elf might be having some sort of anniversary this week or this year, so that's probably all this Elf stuff is happening. The Nautilus TV show, which focuses on the character from 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea that Disney Plus had created but then dropped, has been picked up by AMC, so you will be able to see it, which is good. Prehistoric people built little artificial islands in Scottish lochs for whatever reason. We don't know why. Maryland Vineyard uses ducks to fend off and feed off of invasive species lanternflies to keep them at bay, and so they're not invasive to our territory. And a sea lion is shown on video tearing the throat out of a blue shark. So you go on that. No idea what that says. All right. Tyson's Corner, a local shopping area down near Washington, has been losing people. They're not shopping as much as they used to down there. So they decided to change some stuff up. They're going to allow the drinking of alcohol during your shopping excursions down there at Tyson's Corner. Grizzlies are big, but this trail cam in the Yukon up in Canada discovered a giant Yukon grizzly, probably one of the biggest grizzlies they have ever seen, has appeared on this trail cam. Attack on Titan's final episode ever of the anime debuted on Saturday. So that is now, there are no longer any new episodes of Attack on Titan coming out. My wife and daughter watched a little bit of it, but they got behind, so they're going to probably need to catch up here. Home Depot, which were the ones that created the giant skeleton, that was a huge popular Halloween decoration, now has giant skeletons dressed as Santa Claus. So if you want one for Christmas, you can, or maybe they'll just offer the Santa Claus suit that'll fit on it so that people who've already bought it won't have to buy another skeleton dressed as Santa. Yeah, right. They're not going to do that. They're going to have to force you to buy another one. David Harbour from Stranger Things and his wife Lily Allen are separated. The Washington Metro will be expanding to new stops and also getting a facelift with new signage and stuff like that. So that's pretty good. Eggnog ice cream sandwiches are coming for your holiday season. I love eggnog, and eggnog ice cream is actually really good also. Lay's kettle-cooked buffalo chicken dip chips are also due out here soon. Probably just in time for a Super Bowl and stuff like that. The Max even though they got rid of all J.J. Abrams' DC ideas, they're still doing some stuff. The Lanterns TV show, which is going to be a lot more like a police officer procedural, has gotten a showrunner, and they've also investigating creating a TV show set for the character of the Question, which is an absolutely perfect idea for a TV show. How did that one last? Lucky Charms S'mores flavor is coming out now. There's a trailer for a movie called Sky Monster, which is a creature that flies above the Bermuda Triangle. So that's kind of cool. Green Day has announced a new album coming out in 2024. They're also going on tour, I believe, with Smashing Pumpkins next year as well. Now You See Me 3 is in the works. That's the series about magicians. Imaginary, a Blumhouse film, will be coming in 2024. I'm assuming it has to be about imaginary friends that kill people. That sounds like a Blumhouse idea anyway. Lost Art from Imisu Gentileschi Panti was discovered in an English palace's storeroom and refurbished, and it looks really nice now. Home Depot is also selling a giant 6-foot tall Jack Frost inflatable, along with their Santa Claus skeleton. Amish Barn House can be set up in 3 hours. It starts at $12K. So if you want to live in a small house, you can buy this for $12K. It'll be set up in 3 hours. Crocodile Island Trailer is a Chinese monster movie about giant crocodiles living on an island. Christopher McQuarrie is starting writing on Sicario 3. 3-toed dinosaur prints were found on a UK beach during flooding checks. They were making sure that the beaches were okay and not getting eroded too badly due to flash floods or just regular flooding, and they discovered these 3-toed dinosaur footprints, so that's kind of neat. Poltergeist, the Steven Spielberg produced and some say directed movie by the guy who directed Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I forget his name right now. Supposedly directed this, but it's very Spielbergian. It's going to be getting a TV show on Amazon Prime, and that could be kind of interesting to see how they decide to do that. Eden, the new Ron Howard film, has just cast the luscious Sydney Sweeney and Vanessa Kirby to join Alicia Vikander and Daisy Edgar Jones. So don't know much about the story idea, but that's a pretty stacked female cast right now. Pretty attractive one as well. Anniversary Spice World, 25 years ago this week. So yay for Spice World. Now the final 2 stories of the week. Paranormal investigators have been looking for ghost cats in Wild West mining towns. Now, I have my own little ghost cat here, which I haven't seen in a while. So I don't know if Ghost Cat's still here or if there's another one, if Jinx is here, but is not as evident as Bonnie was. If Bonnie's moved on, I don't know. But I haven't seen any ghost cat in a while. But the fact that ghost investigators are looking at cat ghosts in Wild West towns is really kind of cool. And the final story is, of course, from Florida. Florida man finds iguana hiding in his toilet. Excuse me. Only in Florida. That is it for this first weekend of November. It is Bonfire Night, Guy Fawkes Day, whatever you want to call it now. Your clocks are going to be turning back here in about 43 minutes. So we'll be reliving this again real quick. But yes, so we have 43 minutes left before clocks get turned back officially. I will still be up when the clocks get turned back officially. So that's going to be kind of cool. And we get an hour back. Next week, The Marvels comes out. They've been talking a lot of shit about the newest MCU movie. I will be taking the day off to watch that movie on Friday. So I have a 4-day work week this week, which is awesome. And I'll be watching. I got to get my tickets, so I'll be watching the Marvels on Friday. So I'll probably have a review of the Marvels Review the Marvels. Next week, it's also Veterans Day weekend. And Diwali is coming up also that weekend. And as far as I know, there is nothing else really huge that we know of coming. But of course, we said that before, and we get the stuff that we get now. One last thing, real quick: Matthew Perry passed away last Saturday, and it happened before I did my show last week. So I did my eulogy for Matthew Perry. This week was all about all the eulogies for Matthew Perry from all of his friends, stuff like that. So it was nice to see all that as well. And while he is now officially in the ground, enshrined, as it were, in the ground, and has moved on to his heavenly reward. So thanks for watching the show. As I said, in about 40 minutes, the clocks will be changing back to 1 o'clock again. And we start daylight standard time, I guess is what it is. It's not savings time, it's daylight standard time. So that's it. Until next week, I should be on Saturday night as usual because we got nothing exciting going on. In 2 weeks, my family's supposedly going on camping again. We'll see if that happens. And I'll be left alone then. But for now, I will not be. So next week, as I said, The Marvels is out. Go see it, please, and shut down all these people who are saying that Brie Larson is terrible and Marvel's dying and all this stuff. Shut it down. Go see this movie and make it be a huge hit and enjoy it. It should be a lot of fun. I will give you my review about it. All right. I am just about finished here. Stay warm. Happy bonfire night, Guy Fawkes Day, whatever. Enjoy your Sunday and have fun.